What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Moose Milk Podcast, episode 66. I'm your host, Ryan. Going to wait for Mr. Matthew to join us. My dog Finnegan is here with a squeaky toy, so he very well may be squeaking. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a good week. Finally getting into some spring weather here, which is always beautiful. A little rainy, but that's alright. Matt's here. My dog's barking as usual. Here's Matthew. Oh, this dog. What's up, buddy?
Hang on, I gotta turn the volume up on this business. Can you hear me okay?
I can't now.
Okay.
My dog's already being an asshole, so, you know.
That happens.
Yeah.
He's, that's kind of his signature move for when we're doing this, so.
Well, usually he'll sleep right until 1 o'clock, and then I get up, and he's like, oh, it's time to bark.
Of course. Of course. Yep. I'm gonna try to put my earphone in here and see if I can get better sound here.
What's that?
Sorry in advance if I'm a little...
You're freezing up. You're freezing up, son.
But I'm good now. Yeah, I think that's going to be part of it here. Hang on.
All right. Midnight, very nice.
Better. It might take a second, but...
There, buddy. There you go. You're back. In pod form.
Yeah.
Look at that Blink-182 shirt you got there.
I wore it to work today.
That's my boy.
It was dressed down.
Mr. Professional.
Fridays casual, and I always kick it extremely casual. So everyone's just wearing like what I wear during business attire for the rest of the week. So it's like all week I'll wear like plaid shirts, untucked with like chinos. Everyone else wears like dress pants, dress shirt, ties. I'm just like, I'm not fucking wearing any of that.
Casual Friday, you should be rolling in there in a Speedo.
Well, casual Friday, I just wear a t-shirt and jeans because I'm like, I don't want to do anything more. So fuck it.
I say you go in there next week in a thong.
Maybe I will.
You're not working next week, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not. Well, I'm technically working, but yeah.
Well, you're not in the office.
Yeah. I'm in Toronto. I'm on your time zone.
Yeah, that's going to be weird.
Next week. So yeah, right off the bat, just so everyone knows, next week I won't be here because I'll be at my friend's house Friday night. But the week after, I think we're going to do it live, right? Is that the plan?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to take next week off in general, I think.
Nice.
I think it's going to be the first week I miss an episode.
The week that, next week, the whole week you're going to, I see what you're saying. Sorry.
Yeah.
On the podcast. Got it.
I think we're going to take a week off. I need a break. I've been mentally not great, so I need a week break. I need to just relax and enjoy the weekend with my family for Easter and all that stuff. So next week, no episode, and then the following week, Matt will be here, so we'll do a live episode with us in person.
We'll be tickling each other the whole time.
And,
it'd be like the Family Guy.
Exactly. And then we'll do... We'll cover episode 3 and 4 of Moon Knight and other shenanigans, I'm sure.
Other shenanigans, I'm also sure. So what's happening? How you say you're not doing good? That sucks. We'll talk about that offline.
Yeah, I'm not great, but it's all right. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long week.
What did you watch?
X-Files. I'm rewatching X-Files.
There's a lot of X-Files, isn't there?
Yeah, 220 episodes.
Cool.
I finished 6, I think, this week, maybe 7.
So you got some time.
Oh, it's like 11 seasons, so it's going to be a while. But
I always need a show to binge. I love the X-Files. I've seen all the episodes except for the most recent season, which was like, I don't know, 15 years after the show ended. They did like a extra couple seasons.
You didn't watch it?
No, I didn't watch it at all. I think I seen 2 episodes and it wasn't very good. But I don't know. It's the show has very different tones at times, and it starts off very serious sci-fi, and then there's more comedic episodes later on, and then the cast changes, and people leave, and
that's never
Squeaky Toy's gotta be so fun to listen to.
It's not really that bad, but I mean, I'm not really noticing it, but I'm also a little bit baked, so.
Yeah, well, this dog's not gonna stop. But yeah, I watched the X-Files. What else? Oh, I finished the last 2 Saw movies. Now he's barking.
Oh, nice. Did you watch the last 2 Saw movies, or did you watch Jigsaw and
Spiral and Jigsaw
or whatever? Okay, yeah.
Saw Blade.
Whatever the fuck it is.
Spiral.
That's the one.
Yeah, I've seen them both before. This was just a rewatch of them, and I actually enjoyed them more than I did the original first time I watched it. Maybe I was high or drunk when I was watching them the original first time, but I mean, they're not great. They're not the best Saw movies by any means, but
better than you remember.
I mean, Jamie Foxx makes the Spiral movie like better. Jamie Foxx is great in it.
Oh, I didn't even know. I don't even remember what that is. So like, I don't even remember Jamie Foxx being involved. So
it's a spin-off. Like, it's not directly tied into Saw.
And then Chris Rock is in the last one, whatever the last one.
That's what I meant. Chris Rock, not Jamie Foxx.
Okay.
Okay, go on.
Ryan's gonna fucking kill someone in a minute.
You're not gonna sit here and bark the entire time. No. All right.
That's right.
So yeah, no. I don't know. They're all right. It's more of a spin-off than an actual direct sequel, and I don't know. It's I saw that chat. The main villain of Spiral is Will Smith. Yeah, I mean,
that's amazing. Good for
the
you.
Whole thing
good for you. You took the shot, and I would call that a win. That's good.
I just don't care about it, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the media is making such a big deal out of this, and I'm like, who cares? Who cares? It's a bunch of rich people fucking arguing over awards or whatever and jokes. Like, why does anybody care about this?
I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. Are we gonna crack that egg? This is what I'll say about it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it's about. You don't fucking hit someone on TV.
Oh, like, I agree with that. I'm not saying he was right. I'm just saying
I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying that's my take on it. It doesn't matter if he said something 10 times worse. It still doesn't give you the right to hit him in the face. It doesn't even matter that it's in public. It doesn't give you the right to assault somebody because you don't like what they said. Secondly, when you're at those kind of things, man, sorry for you. Like, I read something today about what Ricky Gervais was saying, and like I totally agreed with exactly what he was saying. He's like, that would be the most tamest thing I would ever say.
Yeah.
You know,
if you watch Ricky Gervais at like the what is it?
Yeah,
the Gold
doesn't he try to make it bad so that like mean so
he
that way they make
it.
Yeah. I love that.
Like, I love Ricky Gervais. Like, Ricky Gervais is one of my favorite comedians. But no, like I just, why are we watching award shows where a bunch of millionaires get handed awards for acting? I don't know. I don't care. You're a bunch of super rich people. Like, you don't need a big award you just got paid millions of dollars to do the movie. That was your award.
The way I kind of look at that is it's like, you know, I personally am like you in that, like, I don't really subscribe to the whole celebrity culture, right? And it's like, for me, I don't even really consider celebrities like really real people. Like, you know, because it's just like their lifestyle is just so different to what any of us could ever possibly know. And it's like, that's, to me, like, I mean, that's just the way it is. There's always going to be rich people. There's always going to be poor people. And
no, money's not real.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like that's just we could spend a whole episode on that. But I mean, the fact that they want to have their own things, I mean, that's no different than me like wanting to have like a customizing award or some shit, right? Like
that's what we should do. We should just give us awards. We should just have an whole episode where we give ourselves awards, and I
think we should actually change the format of Loose Milkpedia to simply just being an award show podcast where all we do is pat each other on the back for the whole hour. We just do it for an hour. We talk about how great we are, and then I'll like pimp you out, you pimp me out, and then we'll give
every
each
other
other
episode.
Awards.
I ship you something, and you ship me something, and every week we just open the box live, and it's just another award for something we've done.
The thing is if we did that, that would be fucking hilarious because I could already imagine the crazy shit you would put on an award.
Oh, you'd have some dandies there. You'd have some dandy.
When I had Stranded Customs on Whip Wednesday Live a few weeks ago, I wrote like an intro for him, and everything I wrote, I was like, no one would think this is funny except Ryan. Like it's because it's like the stupidest things. And like I said it to Kate, and she just looked at me and she's like, "Was that going to be funny?" And I'm like, "Oh."
I would find it funny. For anybody that doesn't remember, like way back in the day, Facebook had a thing where you could write how you know your friend. So you'd say like coworker or like met in high school or whatever. They're supposed to be like
you
actual
could fill it in
realistic
too.
things.
Like you didn't have to, but you could say coworker and just leave it blank, and then you could say coworker at and fill it in.
Right. And I would like literally like once a week, twice a week, I would write like something completely batshit crazy to Matt,
that's
like
so funny.
Matt hang gliding in the Galapagos, and like that was one, and then like bear wrestling in Indiana in 1963, and like
I definitely have pictures
nonsensical.
In all my old pictures. I know that I over time have taken pictures of those because some of them have just been way too funny to like not capture because you were changing them so regularly. So. Well,
like Facebook got rid of it completely, and they're just gone to history. Like, there's so many things on Facebook that used to exist that they just deleted, and I don't know where they went, but they're gone.
I know. Remember poking? Remember when you used to poke people?
Poking and like the whole note thing is like I think completely gone.
Is it?
Yeah.
Crazy. I never used notes, but yeah, we're getting into.
I used it a lot, but
territory. But
we've gone on a tangent. What did you watch this week? Oh, I also want to say I listened to the new Jack White album that came out today.
Oh, yeah.
It's really, really good. Really, really good. Very similar to like back to like hard rocking, like White Stripes era, like really good rock. So if anybody's a fan of like White Stripes or Jack White, like I highly recommend the new album. It's
a Jack White album though. It's not a White Stripes album, right?
No, he'll never do another White Stripes album. Meg White won't come back.
Oh, right. We talked about this, I think, when we did our top albums. Yeah.
It's a standalone, but it's very similar in tone to the last like White Stripes album.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's pretty really cool.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. What do you watch?
I watched some good stuff this week. So first of all, I will say today to everybody, Happy Rex Manning Day. If you don't, I meant to ask you, have you ever seen Empire Records?
Like once.
Didn't strike you, eh?
No.
Surprised it didn't. Makes me want to work in a record store. And every year on this day we were just watching it. So Empire Records open till midnight. This is Mark.
I would love to work at a record store.
This movie was the main reason I wanted to work at a record store.
And that 70s show when I think it was near the end when they opened the record store.
Nope, that wasn't it for me, but
I love that 70s show, and I was just like, man, that'd be a great time.
Empire Records. I love it.
I'll have to watch it. I haven't seen it in probably 20 years, so.
It's got some good shit. There's some good characters in it, and I mean, it's weird because like the way apparently it was like completely like cut up and recut, and the whole plot apparently changed. Like apparently there's like this whole different version of it. So some parts seem
like Anchorman.
Yeah, it's totally like Anchorman in that sense. Yes, like a completely different storyline, and then they changed it and added a bunch of shit and weird characters and stuff. Yeah.
So I'll have to check it out. So, was that like 97 maybe?
I want to say it's like 94.
Yeah, so I've probably seen it in that era. Like,
yeah, I watched it in grade
four.
8. That was the first time I ever watched it, and I was like, I want to work at a record store.
Yeah, it must have been around that era, grade 8, grade 9, somewhere in there. Anyway,
Great one. So yeah, I watched that just a few minutes ago. That was what I just finished up with. And then
Nice.
last Saturday, after we finished the show, the next night, I watched Dune finally.
you watched what?
Dune.
Oh, dude, nice.
Fuck, man, it was great. It was so
Great,
good. I need to watch it
Yeah.
again with subtitles. I definitely missed a bunch at the beginning. I didn't ask Nikki to put the subtitles on until like 2/3 of the way in. And as soon as he did, I was like, wow, I'm getting way more of this now. So I need to go
It's
back.
very
and
Star Wars, eh?
Very Star Wars. Lots of similarities. So
Yeah,
I really
good.
liked it though. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was fucking like the visuals were crazy and just like the story was really good and like
Yeah.
I really liked it. I really like got invested in the characters by the end. It was really cool.
Yeah, I can't wait for the sequel. It's part 2 or whatever.
Part 2. Yeah. Do we have a date of when that's coming?
I think it's next year, but I might be wrong. It might be 2024. I'll have to look. Hold on. Yeah, no, I really liked it. I think it's excellent. I bought the book right after I seen the movie. Planned on reading the book, and then I just never got around to it because I just don't have time to read. Well, I do have time to read, but I just choose not to use my time to read. October 20th, 2023.
Yeah, okay. Still got a little bit.
So it's a ways off, year and a half off.
But I really liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah,
It made me bummed that I waited that long to watch it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, no, it's, anybody that hasn't seen it, definitely check it out. It's out on Blu-ray and 4K and everything now. So if you didn't want to see it in theaters, you can pick it up wherever digitally, whatever. So
That's what we did.
Yeah.
And then I almost finished season 14 of Always Sunny. I think I have one more episode left and I'm done for season 14. And then I have just season 15, I think, right? And then I'm done.
Short, 8 episodes, I think.
Nice. So yeah, I should be able to finish those pretty soon. Maybe even in the next couple weeks. It's
There
taking
you
me
go,
a long
buddy.
time to get through these last ones, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not going to get another season till the end of the year anyway. So
Yeah. And then we started watching this show called Kevin Can F Himself.
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
It's got Annie Murphy in it.
Yeah.
Super
Yeah.
fucking weird, man. It's really weird. It's like, so it starts as like this sitcom, like in front of a studio audience style. It seems super like generic, like the set looks really generic and like the jokes are like corny, like they would be on a sitcom. And it's basically like Annie Murphy married to this guy named Kevin, who is literally like a human version of Peter Griffin, like in everything. Like he looks like him, he like talks like him, he has like stupid ideas like him, and it's just so it's like it's literally Peter Griffin as like in a human form, basically. So like when it's shot as the sitcom, it's like the colors are really bright and it's like really seems like really happy tones, lots of laughing, and then as soon as Annie Murphy's kind of like left by herself, it's like everything just goes like depressed. So it's like the colors are all like really muted and like the laughing's gone, the studio audience is gone, and like it goes from feeling like a sitcom to like this like depressing drama. And it's basically, I mean, we haven't gotten all the way through. We've only, I think, got about halfway now. But it's basically about Annie Murphy, who's like married to this guy, and like I don't know how long this goes into the storyline, but at the beginning it starts with she gets this idea that she wants to kill her husband because like she just like hates her life. Like she gets treated like shit by him, and it's just, but like is it
worth watching?
I'm liking it so far, so I'm going to continue watching it. I really like it so far, so
I'll have to check it out then.
I'm hoping Kate doesn't watch any while I'm gone this week, and then we can pick it up again next week when she's with me.
Hey, if you weren't allowed to watch fucking Conan O'Brien's murder mystery thing, then she's got to follow the rules too.
I told her that. So Kevin can go fuck himself or F himself.
Yeah, you can't say fuck.
I mean, honestly, like if you watch the first episode and it's not for you, like it does get a little bit more, like it does explain more as it goes along, but like the vibe is relatively similar.
Yeah, I was gonna watch it because I saw Annie Murphy in it, but
I thought of you because of Annie Murphy, and then
I just didn't. I never sat down to watch it, but I'll have to check it out then.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime, I think it is.
Okay, cool.
But yeah,
did you ever end up watching The Thing that you were going to do with your podcast?
Yes, I did watch The Thing. I thought maybe I guess I didn't talk about it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. It actually made me intrigued to watch the like redos of them and stuff. Like I want to watch the more modern one now.
Yeah.
Someone told me that it's like basically like it's the tale of like the team at the other base that they find, like with the guy with the throat slashed and all that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked it. I thought especially like the special effects, especially considering the age of that movie, is fucking crazy. And like it's crazy to be like left alone with these characters and not know. Nobody knows what to like who is It's
a great X-Files episode that like basically is the same premise, and they're stuck in like a base in Antarctica or something like that, and it's like the same, very similar tone. And
nice.
Yeah. But,
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
But did you see the more modern one? Did you see the?
I think I did watch it, but I don't remember it at all. Like I want to say it was somewhat recent.
Yes. I think it was like 2016, I want to say, or 14 maybe.
Let's see, The Thing 2000, 2016 maybe?
2016. I'm pretty sure it's 2016.
I don't know. I gotta see. Author.
I heard that one is all done in CGI, but I heard originally they shot it all with practical effects and then the studio made them change it all to CGI.
2011.
God damn, 2011.
We're so old.
Hey, whatever.
I did see it because Mary Elizabeth Winstead's in it, and that's why I watched it, because I was like, she's gorgeous. I want to watch her in more movies.
That's one of the Sonny's guys' wives, right?
No, that's the girl from
Black Licorice Pizza or whatever.
No, fuck. What's the movie? Scott Pilgrim.
The girl, like the main girl?
She's got like fucking blue hair and shit in the movie.
Oh, that's her? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Always fun to put a name to a face.
Pretty sure.
Okay.
I might be wrong. No, yeah, I'm right. Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I watched this week. Kevin can go F himself and Dune and Empire Records and Always Sunny. It's a good week. And then I caught up on my usual podcasts, and there was a new one I started watching this week, so that was pretty fun. Or toy shows, I guess.
Can't wait to see your fucking Spotify year-end review when it's, hey, you watched 600,000 hours of podcasts, and I'm like, there's not even 600,000 hours in a year, but good.
It said, so if you would have put all the time I listened to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend last year into days, it would have been 21 days of the year.
That's disgusting.
But it's just because there's something always on. I was talking about this at work today. It's like, because one of my friends, she was like, oh, I can't have anything on when I'm working. I'm like, I cannot have silence. I cannot have silence. Like,
I'm the same way.
I have to have a podcast or a YouTube show or something that I don't have to pay attention to. Like, I could be on, but I don't need. It's just like I can jump in and out of it and get a quick laugh. Like, that's what I like.
Yeah, but
that's why I have so much podcasts. Like Conan, I listen to it so much because it's just, even when I listen to it once, there's stuff that he says that I'm just like, God damn, he's so funny.
He is really funny. Don't get me wrong. It's just like, for me, it's like diminishing returns. Like, once I listen to an episode once, the second time I listened through it, unless it was like 5 years later and I don't remember it at all, like, I'm not going back and listening to a podcast again a week later. Like, it's not happening. Yeah,
but that's pretty, like, it's not surprising for me. It's very much my nature to, like,
totally
something. That I'm very much that person. Like, I listen to albums until they're fucking trash.
Yeah.
Like, I don't stop. I watch the same movies over and over. Like, yeah.
I'm the same way with movies and music, but like, for me, those don't like diminish, and I don't know why. Like, podcasts for me, it's just like, once I listen to, they're throwaway. They're just.
No, that's weird. I'm not like that. Like, I have favorite episodes of Conan. Like, I bet you I've listened to the Jeff Goldblum Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. Not exaggerating. I bet you I've listened to it 50 times easy.
Oh.
I just love it. I love his voice. I love them together. They're so funny. So, and the Bill Hader one, man, Bill Hader, I bet you is up there too. Same with the first Bill Burr one.
Yeah,
the Jim Gaffigan and the Kevin, what's his name?
Nealon.
Kevin yeah, Nealon. That's it. I've listened to those way too many times to say.
Like I said, I love Conan. I think he's a very funny man, but for some reason, podcasts are like a one listen thing for me. It's once I'm done, they're gone. I delete them.
That's fair.
That's fair. But music, music I'm the same way. Like that, just a week, I listened to that Red Hot Chili Peppers album like probably 15 times. I'm putting it on at least every day. I've listened to it like biking to work. That's the way I am with music. I burn out on albums and then I come back to them 10 years later and they're new again.
Same here. Yeah, same here. That's what I do too.
Yeah. Moon Knight.
Hey,
what'd you think?
Yeah, I liked it. It was good. I mean, I don't think it's not. Let me rephrase that. Yeah, I liked it. It's good. It's good.
Let me rephrase that. I liked it.
It's good. Like I wish there was like more like Moon Knight stuff still. Like because like what we're getting, I'm loving. So it's like I wish there was more of it. But I also like I can appreciate the longer episodes. Like 57 minutes this week. I was pretty happy about that. And like I get that there's still a lot of story to unravel here. So like I get it, but I just like, and I'm not complaining. We got good Moon Knight scenes this episode, so I'm happy about it. But we got it. They were so good that I'm like, man, I would have loved a bit more of it.
Yeah, I mean, that was my biggest problem with it too, is I feel like we're not getting enough Moon Knight in it, and there's only 6 episodes, and I feel like kind of the second episode was just more of the first episode. Like
Moon Knight in action. We're getting Moon Knight in that's what we want. We're getting lots of Moon Knight, technically. We're getting multiple personalities, but it's just to see him kicking ass. That's what I want to see more of.
The like bumbling Steven aspect of the second episode, like it kind of annoyed me in a little bit, where I was just like, I wish there was less of Steven in this episode. Like we already got the bumbling, I don't know what I'm doing aspect of the character, and like I really felt like this episode needed to move him forward. And like he's still kind of like,
I think it did.
See, he's still
in the
like
costume. Now he's wearing the costume.
I know, like it took the entire episode. It was like 40 minutes of him bumbling around, like, no, I don't want to be it. No, I'm not gonna do this. No, I don't want. Like, it's like, all right, buddy, like you're getting attacked by like Egyptian fucking shit, like all over the place. Like, fucking let's go, buddy. Like hop in the suit and let's fuck some people up. And it's just like, nah, I want to run away. And I'm like, all right, buddy. Like, I guess, I don't know. It was just a little slow and a little too like, I think we got enough of the bumbling Steven. I think we need to move into more of like the Mark aspect of it and see him like really start booting ass and really like show him as a superhero kind of thing.
I want them to give some more explanation, or I want them to dive deeper into like why we have all these different, like they haven't really got into why there's a Steven and a Mark. Like
that's the thing I don't understand still. Like by the end, he's basically saying like, you have to give me permission to come in. But then on the other hand, clearly he's in control all the time because he's got this whole other life and wife and all this stuff. So I'm like, how did you get permission to be in control of the body before? If he
maybe he's found a way to like, maybe like the other one gains control if the other one like passes out or something. So like, which would explain why like in the first episode he would like just look like he was about to get shot, and then all of a sudden he would like black out for a second and then come back in a minute. He's got a gun in his hand. He's like, oh, what the fuck? Right? So maybe every time one of them kind of loses consciousness, the other one kind of picks up, maybe like if Mark has this other life, but then he like falls asleep and then
that's what I'm thinking. It's like an unconscious.
But that wouldn't really make sense because if he had this other life, then when he fell asleep, he would wake up as Steven. Steven would be where that body is if he was in another house. So that doesn't really make sense. But
I don't really understand it completely either. Like how like this wife aspect hasn't come into play earlier till now. Like clearly, it's been a year, or it seems like a long time since they've been married. Like this is just coming up all of a sudden out of nowhere, and like the job aspect and the mother aspect and all this stuff. Like, I don't know. It seems like somebody would have caught on, or something would have happened to make this all come to like fruition at some point earlier to now. But I don't know. I'm interested in where it goes. Like, I hope that we get some answers in the next episode and see more action, see more Moon Knight. But it's different. It's definitely different.
Yeah. I don't want to undersell it. Like, I do like it.
No.
I did enjoy the episode a lot. I liked it better than the first one. But like, my only gripe is like, I wish we just got. I like the stuff with Moon Knight in battle so much that I wish we could have got more. That's all.
Yeah. No,
but everything else, I like. I love Oscar Isaac as Steven. I find that character to be a fucking hoot, man. He's super funny.
I love Oscar Isaac. Like, I'll watch Oscar Isaac and anything. But yeah, like I just feel like the bumbling aspect of the character we've had enough of it now, and we need to move on, or at least have him start understanding that like he has powers and he can do stuff. And, like,
I think we will. I think after what we saw, I think we will. I think I feel like that whole scene with Mr. Knight where he was like in the suit.
Yeah.
I feel like that was like a pretty good sign of like us being like, okay, like he at least gets it. I'm sure he's still going to have a lot of reservation about stuff because that just seems like that's that character. But I feel like moving forward, hopefully we should get past that.
No, I agree. My favorite line of the entire episode was when he's fighting in the streets against the whatever dog creature or whatever the fuck, jackal, and he's like right around that like double-decker bus or whatever, and those two old women are seeing it. They're like, "Is he having a seizure?" And the other woman's like, "No, he's just a fancy drunk." That actually made me like laugh out loud.
I really wanted to watch the episode again. I didn't get a chance to double watch it this week. I usually do, but I
just watched it again. But it was good. It was solid. It's not my favorite Disney Plus thing, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's not my favorite either, but I am really liking it. I like Oscar Isaac. I like where the story's going, and I'm really liking the episode length. I'm feeling like I feel like at the end it's filled my quota.
Yeah, no, I agree, and 4 more episodes. Hopefully, it moves at a quick pace, and we get hour-long episodes for the rest of it. And I don't know, like, where do you see this going? Like, do you think it's at all going to tie into the MCU, or do you think it's just going to be completely standalone?
I feel like they could do it two ways. I feel like if they make it standalone, the nice thing about that is they can make it feel like it's not the MCU for anybody who's like, feeling like the MCU is too much. I think I've kind of heard a lot of people say that there's just like a lot happening right now, especially with like the whole multiverse thing. It's, it's a lot, right? So having something that's kind of isolated and just self-contained might be nice, but I don't think we'll get through the entire thing without any reference. I feel like we're going to get something. It may not equate to anything story-wise, but I feel like it's too tempting for them to like not do something. And in fairness, like I feel like they should do something. Like it doesn't have to be huge, but I think it'd be good if they did.
I'm almost thinking like, do we know for sure that it's like present day in the show?
Yes, we do. We know timeline-wise that it is the current up-to-date thing. Like it's what's happening right now. Yeah.
So I was gonna say it's kind of weird that like at no point do they reference like the blip or like Thanos or like any of that stuff. Like I know it's kind of taking place in like London and like Egypt and like
those are
like
world
that.
events. Those are world events.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's like you think that at some point there would be a reference to it. Like that's a huge life-altering thing.
Yeah, you would think that would be something that would be common discussion as a reference.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes me think that maybe the blip had something to do with like his personality changes or something like that. Maybe
that would be cool.
Like maybe that's why he's like maybe Mark was in control of the entire blip or something like that for several years, and maybe like the Steven angle got
That would
blipped
be
out.
kinda
I don't
cool.
know.
Yeah.
Something along those lines of where like that's why he was able to like go to Egypt and do whatever he was doing, and clearly this Egyptian god thing rescued him or whatever. He made some kind of deal with him, and then get married and like all this stuff. It's maybe the Steven angle was blipped out, and that's why he had control for such a prolonged time. But the fact that he's not referencing it ever, like, but we've only really seen Steven's side of it, so maybe he's not even like cognizant that there was a blip. Like maybe he was just not there.
Yeah. Maybe he thought
So,
it
I
was
don't
all just a dream, because he seems to have a hard time figuring out what's real and what's not. That would be a
that's
very
interesting.
easy thing to be like, I'm just reliving this reoccurring nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He seems like he has a very small grasp on what is real and what's not anyway, so that would be an easy explanation for it. But my other question was like, how do we see these like Egyptian gods? Are they gods? Like, how are they tying into the overarching MCU?
It's hard to say, man. It's super hard to say.
Right. Especially after Eternals.
Yeah, I was just going to reference between Thor and Eternals. It's like we have all these different kinds of gods, right? And it's like, I mean, we're in the universe where that's possible, but it's just trying to explain it all is where it's probably going to get a bit sticky, because but we've always been told Thor is a god, but I mean, the Eternals could probably destroy Thor with like a little snap of their fingers, probably.
Yeah, that's what it seems. That's what the Eternals made it seem like. So that's why I didn't really understand exactly. It's like, where do these Egyptian gods kind of fit into the overarching god hierarchy of the MCU? But
and do we see them again after this?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, I like that they're toying with different mythologies and stuff like that. I think that's interesting, but I just don't know how they exactly coalesce into like one cohesive world.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure. But that's the kind of thing with the MCU, though, right? Is all these little worlds can kind of have their own feel, their own flavor, and then once they have to interact, it doesn't really have to be that way, and it doesn't really feel out of sorts. Like it feels it still works, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, the fact that they were able to tie in like the space angle of the MCU so well and so easily with all the like space stuff they've done is it's good, because I think that was the hardest angle, I think, for Fox's X-Men to really do, was like, okay, we have this like kind of grounded mutants in this world, and now Dark Phoenix and all that storyline is all spaceship. We're just not even going to touch on that, really. We're just going to pretend it was a thing on Earth all along. And like, now that we have all the space set stuff really like set in the MCU, is when they do bring in the X-Men, you can really do those storylines and do them well.
Yeah, that's the nice thing, is they're not really bound to like one setting, right? It's not weird in this universe for space to be involved. It's not weird.
Exactly.
Yeah. They've done a good job at building that out and making it feel natural, even though, again, there's got to be some level of accepting that this is a comic book movie, right? It's, like whenever
I
Kate
agree.
makes a joke. Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just going to say, like, whenever, Kate will make a comment about something not being realistic, I'm like, it's a fucking guy in a tin suit and he flies around, like, went into space and dropped a nuke. Like, it's, like, it's not really meant to be taken literally. Like, it's,
It's a bunch of nerdy people making nerdy stories, and sometimes, they don't necessarily have to make sense. They're just cool, but
they embrace it. That's the best thing. They embrace that aspect of not taking themselves too seriously, right? It's like, and that was to me the X-Men's biggest problem. The X-Men movies' biggest problem was that they were trying to take themselves way too seriously. And it's like, anytime you do something that's not human, it really stands out, because it seems silly, because you guys have painted that picture. Like, like, you know what I mean?
Well,
like, it's
the same as DC.
It's exactly. Yeah.
They've made the DC world, the DCEU world, very grounded, to the point where it's so grounded that the spaceship doesn't really seem to fit and work. Nope. Even though like Man of Steel worked for Superman, but then I don't know, it just
the shit out of him though. Like it
did, but it doesn't really totally match with Batman. Like that's the biggest problem is like Batman versus Superman was absurd because I'm sorry, but Superman's gonna fucking whoop Batman's ass.
Yeah.
in
Yeah. Not
2.5
even
seconds.
a question. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like you can make whatever suit you want to make, but this is ridiculous. And I mean, the movie's bad, but yeah, I don't know. I like that it can be kind of silly and crazy and comic booky and still kind of hold its own and be grounded at certain aspects, you know?
Yep, me too. I feel like Moon Knight's doing a good job at that too, right?
Yeah. So, it's crazy, but it's also like dealing with real life shit of people with sleep disorders and you know, mentally kind of ill people. And like, it's touching on really heavy shit, but it's doing it in a way that is like realistic in a way, but also like super comic booky in another way, you know?
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I like it. Like I said, I think it's interesting. I think it's different. I think the MCU needs some different shit. So I think that's cool. I'm just very curious how this is all going to fit together. And like when mutants start coming in and you get really powerful mutants involved, you know, like how does that work with the Eternals? And like, I know the Eternals don't really get involved necessarily with human affairs, but then they seem to kind of want to by the end of that movie. So it's like, I don't know how the power scale of all these different characters are going to really flow together and make sense. And why aren't they just stepping in for normal shit? And like, I don't know. But I'm interested.
Well, the bigger the universe gets, the more that you kind of need to be able to explain that stuff too. That's the trickiest part. And that's where these sorts of things tend to fall apart, is like when it gets too big and you need to have an explanation for everything. Yeah. It kind of sucks the fun out of it. So it's like,
but they have the opportunity now with the multiverse to wipe out a lot of shit. And I have a feeling that could be an easy explanation at some point, is like, hey, people didn't really dig the Eternals that much. We're just not going to talk about them anymore.
But the thing is, though, Rise, that was already so self-contained that you could just not ever do anything with it and no one would ever think about it again. Like, you could just leave that as a one-off. Like,
yeah, you could totally.
Continue. You could continue that story with Pip the Troll and Thanos' brother without the Eternals. Like, just because he saw them, that was just their introduction. Like, instead of continuing with the Eternals, you could just ditch them and continue with Harry Styles' character.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it, like, you know, we see him in the Eternals, but then next we see him in Guardians, and then that all of a sudden becomes the story with him involved now. And so that's the thing, is like, I don't really feel like they need to like undo shit. Like, that's my biggest worry with the multiverse, is like, I like where we're at right now. And I hope the multiverse isn't something we have to deal with forever, because it's fun right now, but the problem is I know we've spoken about this before, but it takes all the stakes out of it. And it takes all the, like, it doesn't matter if someone dies, because we'll just pluck one from another multiverse and then we're good. Like,
well, I think they have to end the multiverse sooner than later. But I think
so.
The multiversal stuff has to have an impact on our universe. So I think, you know, by bringing in mutants or by, you know, wiping out a character or bringing a character back or whatever, you can do that. But we have to end the multiversal stuff so that then we can say, okay, now the stakes are set, they're real, everything.
That's set, where you do your like little soft reboot, right? If you want to fix
exactly.
anything. That's what I think will happen.
We've wiped out the opportunity to go back into the multiverse. So now, if a character dies, he's dead. There's no pulling in Tom Cruise from another universe or whatever, you know, like.
Yeah.
So
but that's maybe where we get a new Iron Man, right? It's like, now we have an Iron Man, but it's not RDJ anymore. Now it's somebody else.
I hope they don't do that. I think that would take such a huge piece of Endgame out of Endgame, you know, like.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I'm just saying that you could, in theory, at that point, introduce anyone that you want to, and basically say this is the new standard as we move forward. This is like, these are the new grounds.
Yeah, so I agree with you, but like we said, I think a lot of these characters that we've been with for an extended amount of time are going to be pretty much done after this phase. So
yes, I think
they're going to really step up their mutants aspect. They're going to really step up the Fantastic Four aspect, and like I think you're going to see a lot of the Thor stuff, and obviously like the Hulk stuff and all that kind of slow peter out. Yeah. Obviously, they're going to bring the She-Hulk, but like the Avengers era of characters, I think, are pretty much done.
There's like this like loose rumor floating around for the World War Hulk movie that they're talking about that's potentially happening.
Yeah.
They named off a bunch of characters that would make up like that team of Avengers who would be basically choosing to decide if they're going to like kill Hulk or like.
Right.
And I can't remember exactly everybody, but it was like Captain Marvel, who was it? Captain Marvel, She-Hulk, Thor, Hawkeye, Wong, I want to say. But yeah, it was a really, the reason I'm saying it, because it was an interesting mix. Like the people that were like that team, I was like, oh, that's really weird.
Well, Wong, I think,
War Machine.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could bring back War Machine, but like really, I don't know what more that character has to add to the world, really, other than
he could just be hired arms. He could just be help.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess him and Bruce have history too, like some history, I guess. So
I think more likely it would be like more like Civil War II with Hulk. Like I can't see them doing like a whole World War Hulk. I don't know, maybe, but I feel like he's kind of handing the torch off to Tatiana Maslany and She-Hulk. Like I can't see him coming back for another Hulk movie. I really can't.
I think it's hard to say, but I mean, I guess we'll see. I wouldn't be against it. I would love to have a proper story.
I like the first Hulk movie.
That would be awesome.
Like everybody shits on that first Hulk movie, but I think it's fun. I mean, I know it's Ed Norton, but I think
I don't dislike it. I like it, but it's definitely not like the shining star of the MCU for me.
No, I would agree with that, but
it was good at the time. But now that the MCU has progressed so much, I feel like now it probably doesn't either hold up as well or feel like
it's better than Morbius.
Not that you're not wrong there. Man, I love everybody shitting on Morbius. Even fucking Stephen Colbert was shitting on it the other night. It was so funny.
It's bad, man.
So bad. Fucking Morbius. Even someone's liking this right now and they're saying, Morbius.
Somebody went to see Morbius and was like, "You're right."
I always love those little hearts that pop up because it's like people applauding. It's like, we said something they liked. Morbius is the fucking shittiest movie ever. Oh yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely the worst movie I've seen in a long time.
Really bad. Really bad.
Briefly, do you want to touch on wrestling at all?
I do, but I also wanted to touch on something I read about that made me super hyped for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh yeah, go for it. You sent me the link or the picture or whatever, but
I sent you the Ahsoka, which apparently has been proven to be not true, which is sad. Apparently fake.
Anyways,
I sent Ryan an article of a picture of a leaked picture from the set of Ahsoka, and it was Ahsoka fighting Darth Maul, and I was like, oh, but apparently it's fake. So I read that. So this may be potentially spoilery because I mean, who knows if this is actually true? But the reason I'm talking about it because it got me hyped. So apparently there's like an after credits scene in the second episode, and it's like basically like Vader in a bacta tank, and like it shows him like getting all of his like limbs sewn back, like soldered back onto his body, and it's just like him screaming in pain and like showing how much pain he's in from the suit. The suit like really hurts him, I guess. And like it's supposed to basically say that like, you know, for the last 10 years that's happened, like since the last time we saw Obi-Wan and when he became Darth Vader, this is like pretty much his life. Is like when he's in the suit, he's just like in unbearable amounts of pain. And it like, I'm like, oh my God, imagine. Apparently that like what happens is like Obi-Wan uses the Force or something in episode 2, I guess. And that like sparks in Vader and he realizes, he feels it that Obi-Wan, it's like his first time in 10 years that he feels that Obi-Wan's like alive or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
if that is true, oh my God, that's gonna be so fucking fun.
I always assume, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I always assumed that Vader's like limbs were robotic.
They are. Everything but one. His left arm is human. His both legs and his right arm are robotic.
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, if you got your limbs cut off, that would suck, and then you're living in a suit that, like, you know, is providing you some sort of comfort, I would guess, so that you can be mobile. But
apparently, the suit is opposite. It causes him pain. Apparently,
I don't know. I'm interested in where the show goes. I don't really know. Like I said, the extended universe shit and all that stuff. So it's going to be like a new kind of story for me. I hope it's not Tatooine, Skywalker. Like,
I don't think it's going to be Tatooine. I think he's going to leave Tatooine because I think, especially now that I read that, if that is true, and he does use the Force for some reason, I feel like he's going to recognize that Vader knows, and then he's going to leave Tatooine because he doesn't want to put Luke at risk. That's my guess. That's what I'm guessing. If that is indeed a true thing, that after credit thing does happen and Vader realizes that Obi-Wan's alive, as soon as Obi-Wan realizes that Vader knows, he'll leave Luke because he won't want to put Luke at risk.
That would make sense.
Yes. So I don't think we're going to be on Tatooine much this.
Good. I hope not.
I hope not. Me too. I'm kind of over it.
I'm very over it.
After Book of Boba Fett, I was pretty much done with Tatooine. I was like,
yeah,
cool. All I could think of was just Anakin saying, I hate sand.
Well, as soon as he said him being in pain all the time, all I could think of was episode 3 at the end when he's like, no!
Yeah, I hate that. I do like that scene where you can see how painful it is that he's getting the suit and shit. He's like screaming in agony.
Yeah, so, acting is so piss poor that it's just, I can't with him.
I honestly don't mind Hayden Christensen. I think it'll be better now that he actually has good material to work with. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's all about the writers and directors and everything like that. So if you give them good material, hopefully you can do something with it. But
yep.
Like I said, I'm interested. I'll watch it, but I hope it's good.
Me too. And yes, I do want to talk about wrestling. Of course, I do.
Well, I watched Wrestlemania last weekend,
and
it was fun. It's not.
So just for clarity, you're not. Yeah. You don't watch wrestling regularly, right?
I haven't watched wrestling regularly since 2001, probably.
Okay.
Like, my era of wrestling was definitely 98 to 2001, 2002, maybe. Like,
yeah, that sounds right.
I've caught WrestleMania here, Royal Rumble there throughout the years, but like I haven't watched like an episode of Raw.
You don't follow it, right? Like you don't.
20 years. Like I haven't watched an episode of SmackDown in 20 years. So
yeah.
You know, I'm way out of like most of the people that were wrestling in WrestleMania. I've never even heard of, let alone know any of their story or background. I wanted to watch it because I knew Stone Cold was coming back to wrestle.
Was Stone Cold a favorite?
Well,
for you.
So like, he hasn't wrestled. Yeah, Stone Cold was one of my favorites. I was always a huge Jericho fan.
Yeah, me too.
I loved Stone Cold. I loved Undertaker. I was off and on with The Rock. I think The Rock was fun, but I thought his like finishers and shit were so stupid that I'm like, yeah,
like the People's Elbow.
The People's Elbow was terrible, but
I don't mind Rock Bottom, but I don't like the People's
Rock Bottom's fine, but People's Elbow is the stupidest move in probably the history of fucking wrestling. So,
well, I mean, it's just as bad as Hulk Hogan's leg drop. I mean, really.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's terrible. Well, at least a leg drop would kind of maybe mildly hurt, but the elbow, I'm like, no, it's no. Anyway, but I watched WrestleMania mostly because Steve Austin was coming back, but I also Johnny Knoxville wrestled, which was we'll get into that in a minute. And a football podcaster that I listen to, he used to be in the NFL, but he does podcasts now, Pat McAfee or McAfee. I never remember how to pronounce his last name, but he does like a NFL analyst and a podcast and like analyzes it and whatever. And he became like the SmackDown commentator.
Oh, weird.
So he on SmackDown he does like the Friday night commentary shit. But anyway, he had a wrestling match there too, and so I followed him for the NFL stuff for a long time. So I wanted to see his match. All the other matches, I almost had no idea who anybody was other than Ronda Rousey, and I know her from the UFC, obviously. And I think that's about it. Honestly, like 90% of the wrestlers I had never even heard of. It was fun. It was fine. It wasn't like the best thing I've ever watched. I feel like the entrances have taken a huge nosedive.
Oh, really? I figured that would go up more just because it's less like.
There's almost no pyros anymore. They got rid of most of the pyros. It's a lot of like lights and lasers and shit. They do a lot of like, what do you call it? Like holograms in the sky, basically, of like the wrestlers and shit like that. Like it's a lot of like techie stuff now, less like pyros. I think a lot of the entrance themes almost suck now. Like it's not really my style of music. It's a lot of like more hip hoppy music entrances and stuff like that. But like I was always obviously in the Attitude Era, like way more into like the rock, new metal entrances and shit like that. Like that's where I was totally into. So that took kind of a nosedive. I love the fact that like the women wrestlers now are actually wrestling and not like just doing fucking
slapping each other
and taking off their shirts and shit like that. It's an actual like
I've
legit
heard
wrestling division
I've
now.
heard that it's like relatively like entertaining and like pretty legit now. Like I've heard good things about the women's league and both WWE and AEW.
Yeah. It's actually like just as good as the men's wrestling. Like it's
awesome.
They're doing actual good moves. They're actually, you know, doing maneuvers and fucking finishers and shit. Like they're not just
that's great.
popping off their shirt and wearing, you know, low cut jeans and shit like that. Like
they're not just managers.
Yeah, exactly. So
which I never understood. I don't know what Sonny ever could have done for Legion of Doom, but yeah, whatever.
Other than China, almost none of those wrestlers. Well, and Lita, I guess. Lita was always my favorite back in the day.
Yeah, Lita was great.
Because Lita was my early teens, like my ideal woman.
That's your crush.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. But no, it was a lot of fun. Like I mean, spoilers for WrestleMania, people that don't want to, you know, any spoilers or whatever. It was last weekend. I know it's wrestling, but whatever. Knoxville won. It was the most absurd match I've ever seen in my life. Like, he brought out like Wee Man and like Pontius and like all these like jackass people, and like he had all these traps set around the arena, and like it was bizarre as shit. Like, you know, the giant hand that comes out and hits people from the movie.
He used that?
He had that set up along like the barrier outside the ring.
Oh my god!
Like, he made a giant mouse trap to like catch him in, and it didn't work. Like it completely malfunctioned, and it like ruined the end of the match completely.
Oh god!
He had like a taser that he like was going to tase him with, and like clearly it was turned off when he tased him, but you know, he sold it or whatever. But Wee Man came out, like punched him in the balls a bunch and shit like that. Like it was very like silly, but it was funny, but it was super silly.
Mm.
And then the Austin match, Austin definitely like showed his age. He was.
Yeah, I saw some pictures. There's some videos.
He hasn't wrestled.
The stunner he did on Vince was sloppy as fuck, dude.
So it was the worst stunner I've ever seen, but
That's
also
really
like,
bad.
Vince is 76.
Yeah, I know.
Like, he's an old man.
I know.
He looks decent for his age, but
yeah. In fairness, though, Austin's old too, man. Like that's.
Oh yeah, like he hasn't wrestled in I think 19 years. They said like,
crazy.
You know, he's had so many injuries. Like his neck is like
his knees are fucked.
His neck is like surgically like I don't know, like attached to his spine with like metal discs and shit. Like he can't actually wrestle like he could. Obviously.
Like yeah,
he stole a couple moves and like he did get like, you know, a stunner and like shit like that, but like clearly he knew like this wasn't going to be an actual match. His opponent was going to have to sell the shit out of everything that was going on.
Yeah.
But it was just nice to hear, you know, fucking his entrance theme and like him being in the ring, giving somebody a stunner again. Like that's, I don't know, that's just fun for me. I'll never get old.
Imagine instead of drinking beer, he gets up on the corners and like pours like milk or almond milk.
Well, when he first came out, he didn't grab any beers or like anything like that. And I was like, oh no, they're going to make this super weak where he's not going to be able to drink beers ringside or anything like that. And then after he won, he slammed a bunch of his own beer. I guess he had a brand of beer, and they were like clearly like product placing it on the side of the ring, like, hey, check out this beer, you know? And it's like, all right.
Called Steve Stunner.
It's called Cracked Skull Brew or something like that.
Oh god.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, well,
it was fun. Like it was nostalgic in that aspect. It's slow. Like it's 4 hours long each night. I fast forwarded through like commercials and like fucking promos and shit like that. Like I just basically watched the actual matches, but it's fun. I mean, wrestling's wrestling,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But
who were your favorite wrestlers growing up?
like I said, like mostly Stone Cold and Taker and Jericho. I would say those are my three favorite. Probably when I first started, I was like kind of a Mick Foley fan. I think he was probably Mankind when I first started watching. So
okay,
I loved.
Mick Foley was cool, but he was never a favorite. But I did enjoy watching him fight.
I love DX, like that whole phase of wrestling with fucking Triple H and shit. Like that was always fun for me.
Heart Foundation, I love the Heart Foundation. So
it was a little bit before I started watching, but like I was aware of it, but I wasn't like watching regularly then. But yeah,
I was a big I watched wrestling my whole life. Like my dad watched it, so like I watched it as soon as they would let me. Basically, like I was watching it like late '80s. Like I was pretty young. I was under like I would have been like 5 years old probably when I started watching it. And like so, like a lot of my memories are from renting all the pay-per-views every weekend at the local video store and bringing them home and watching them in no order. So I was like often confused. I usually just picked based on the cover. And then eventually, as I got more into it, I started realizing like, oh, this is all in order. Okay. But yeah, like I loved, like I was always a huge, like I loved Ultimate Warrior. I fucking loved Jake the Snake. My dad used to always talk about Jake the Snake. It was one of his favorite wrestlers. So it kind of made me like him too, because just like I wanted to like what my dad liked, you know. And
I hated Jake the Snake because of the snake. I'm terrified of snakes, so I was like, I hate it.
I also really liked Macho Man, Randy Savage. He was so good. And yeah, man, there's just so much good. I mean, my favorite era is Attitude Era because that's, in my opinion, where it really got good. But like, I liked the extra edge they kind of put on it, where like the bad guys were like really not good people, and like for I liked that aspect of it. But I do love that classic WWF, like Jimmy Superfly Snuka and Mr. Perfect, Brutus Beefcake, all those guys, like Hogan.
It was just really cheesy then for me. Like
yeah, it was.
It was very like stereotyping like the roles of like these characters to like this guy had to be like this and it, like you know what I mean? Like it was very like these are the street gang guys, these are the Undertaker, this is the hero guy, this is the military guy. Like it was always like really defined characters and roles, where I feel like the Attitude Era kind of really mixed it up in a way where it was just like there was more or less like this is the dude, like he's just a regular guy coming out and like, yeah, he has like a persona and like whatever, but it was more like they didn't have to fit like a job description or whatever.
Yeah, it was more characters back in the day, back in the 80s and early, like late 80s, early 90s into the late 90s.
It was always like Jericho's entrance was like my favorite entrance. Like I just loved.
It would be like,
yeah. And like the lights would go out, like it was right before Y2K, and like I was super excited for Y2K because I thought everything was going to end, and I was like, yes, finally. And I was 14 or whatever, but 15, I guess. I would have been turning 14. I would have been turning 15 after Y2K, but I don't know. I was super into that, like Jericho and The Rock was a huge star, and then he was in like fucking movies and shit. And I was like, wow, this is fucking nuts. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I would say Jericho and Taker. I just love Taker. I mean, there's a really great documentary called The Last Ride, all about Taker deciding to retire.
I think I've seen some of it. I think I have.
Yeah, it's excellent. I really recommend it. Like anybody that was a wrestling fan in that era, even more recent era, that's a great doc.
Cool. Maybe I'll watch that. Yeah. I used to like singles all the time, and then like I really loved the two pay-per-views I loved the most were Royal Rumble, obviously, because it's cool.
Of course.
And then Survivor Series, where they had all the teams and you were like eliminated by like, you know, one at a time, one down. And like that was the thing that really got me into like the whole stables. Like I loved the teams, you know, and then like I loved the whole like Canada versus America, where the Hart Foundation was against like Kurt Angle and the other, or not Kurt Angle, who was it?
Well, Kurt Angle was at one point.
Yeah, but I don't think he ever mingled with Bret Hart. I think that was too.
No, I don't think it was Bret Hart. It was more like later on than that, but there was always like the Angle aspect.
That was Jericho.
Of, like,
wasn't Jericho and Angle? Wasn't that Canada versus US? I think that was too, right?
Well, Jericho was Canadian, so
yeah, I know.
Yeah, he would have been. I know he fought Angle a bunch of times.
Yeah, it's hard. My memory's foggy on it, but but that's what made me love all those teams. Like I loved how the Hart Foundation was like the bad guys. They were Canadians, so they were bad guys.
Yeah.
It's just like okay. And then like DX, I love DX. And then like I didn't even like WCW, but I remember when NWO started, I was like, take me over there because I am there for NWO. That is so cool.
Yeah. And I hated Hogan.
I hated Hogan also. I've never been a Hogan fan ever.
Me either. But NWO was awesome. And like that whole era of like WCW versus WWF and like the Monday Night Wars and like all that stuff, and then fighting for ratings and like trying to one up each other. Like you could totally tell that the rivalry like made each show better because they always had to do something bigger or better than the other show. Yep. And like that's the era where we got like fucking Austin fucking coming out in a Zamboni and like you know, like fucking filling McMahon's car with like cement and like all that shit. Like that was the best. That was my favorite.
Remember the DX Army where they all wore army pants and like took the tank over to WCW and like God, that's
what I mean. Good. It was awesome. Like that I don't know if they still do shit like that or not, but like that was like my favorite era of stuff because it felt like, oh my God, these guys are nuts. Like they're actually there with a tank. This is wild. Like
man, so good. I love DX. DX was so fucking awesome, and I loved like the Nation. I loved the Nation of Domination too. They were great too. Yeah, that was. I'm pretty sure like they fought
the tag teams later on. Even like the Hardy Boys and fucking Edge and Christian and shit like that. Like when they did those table ladders and chair matches in like the late '90s, maybe early 2000s. Like that was like. Holy shit, man. These guys are fucking doing like dives off like, 20-foot high fucking ladders into tables and shit. Like it was wild. Like, of course these guys have fucking huge, massive injuries and stuff. You're diving off a fucking 20-foot ladder. Like
you just jumped 25 feet in the air off of that and threw barbed wire wrap tables and chairs.
Exactly. Like you can tell me all you want that wrestling's fake, but when you're fucking diving 20 feet into a fucking table, it's going to hurt
your body. Yeah. Hated shit.
That's a big bump that your back is gonna fucking suck.
Yep.
It's like I sit up too quick and my back is in pain, like
imagine doing that, but through 4 tables covered in barbed wire.
Yeah, exactly. Set on fire and then a guy underneath you and you're landing awkwardly, like yeah.
Well, like the thing is like I do see like the Attitude Era is the stuff that to me really elevated the entertainment value of it, right? Like you were saying, it's like, and that's a really good example of like Hardy Boys and when using a chair became a normal thing versus like a bad thing. Like that was the biggest differences to me between Attitude Era and kind of that early 90s, late 80s kind of aesthetic was like if you used a chair in the late 80s and 90s, you were a heel. You were a bad guy. If you like a good guy would never use a chair in the older days, right? And it's like the level of entertainment of the wrestling component really benefited from the Attitude Era, in my opinion. But there still are some really crazy, like again, you probably maybe know about it, but definitely didn't get to experience it like other people did. Like when Shawn Michaels first became a solo act, like he kicked his tag team partner through a glass window, and like that was like crazy shit. That was like the craziest thing to happen in wrestling at the time, that Shawn Michaels threw Marty Jannetty through a fucking window. And like, it's crazy.
I even remember like all those like crazy matches they did, like the hardcore title when you could fucking beat anybody anywhere you wanted, and they were like wrapping bats and barbed wire, and like everybody had blood pouring out of their face at some point. Like you know, Mick Foley getting fucking powerbombed into tacks on the fucking ring and like shit.
Remember
like
that Hell in a Cell one with him and Undertaker, and he threw him through the cage and he landed on all the tacks in the wood.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and like even like little later on when like fucking Shane McMahon was doing like fucking dives off of the cage match and shit like that, like he's jumping fucking 25 feet through a fucking announcer's table and shit. Like
crazy,
they upped the dangerousness, they upped the ante like so high that every match was like, this is compelling even if I don't even like this wrestler. It's just compelling because there's gonna be some crazy fucking thing that happens.
Yep. It's always something to talk about because they're always trying to one up the previous crazy thing.
Yeah, like even the Taker Kane matches when they were like casket matches and fucking shit like that. Like it was awesome.
Wasn't there one where they had to set the other one on fire? I feel like there was.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That whole storyline was absurd as fuck. I mean, Kane being his like burnt brother and like all that dumb shit. But it was fun, man. I mean, I know I was 13 or 14, but like it was fun.
Yeah, I agree. I was never my dad's favorite wrestlers were Jake the Snake and The Undertaker. I didn't share his love for The Undertaker. I mean, I didn't hate him, but like I didn't. He was never the one I was rooting for. Usually, I was just like.
I loved Taker because I loved the
dead man
first entrance theme. His entrance theme is awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The fact that like he'd come out, it'd be dark, you'd hear the fucking bell toll, and like all that shit was awesome. Fucking what's his fucking name? Paul Bearer. His faces are the best, and like my friend Brian like finds him creepy as shit. So all the time I send him gifs of fucking Paul Bearer making the weirdest faces, and it's my favorite thing to do.
That's money.
It was just fucking stupid as shit. Like I love that era, but and then when Taker switched over to fucking like the American Badass, and he come out on like a motorcycle and shit, but he came out to Limp Bizkit.
No, he came out to Kid Rock, didn't he?
He came out to Kid Rock, but then he came out to Limp Bizkit.
Yes, Rollin'.
Came out to Rollin', and I was like, Limp Bizkit was like my favorite band. Well, one of my favorite bands in that time frame. So like the fact that he came out to Rollin', I was like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome.
So taste in music.
Exactly. So like, of course, I was like a Taker fan then, but
that makes sense.
I love that he still kept the same name. Like it was still the Undertaker, and I was like, he's a motorcycle guy now. But okay, sure, whatever. We'll just go with it. But yeah, wrestling, man, it's fun. I don't care. Like it's super fucking cheesy at times, and it's very like it's definitely like an adolescent, like young teen era show, but it's still just fun to watch, and it's like especially the nostalgia aspect of it of seeing somebody like Austin come back. It's fun. I don't know why they don't use more nostalgia to rope people in. Like I don't understand why Austin isn't like a manager regularly on the show, or like you bring back Taker as like whatever the fake CEO of Raw or something like that, where you cut a promo every so often. Like there's so many things you can do.
Years ago with Ultimate Warrior, where he was like commissioner or something like that, Commissioner Warrior or something. I'm pretty sure. I remember like most of my knowledge about wrestling modern day stuff is because I like follow so many toys, and it's like I see all the toys because like. Man, the toys they have now are so sick. I've had to stop myself more than once from starting to get into wrestling toys because they have
when we were kids, they were just a piece of rubber.
Yeah. Oh, but there were so many. I collect so many wrestling toys from different versions. Like I did collect
like 5 or 6.
But then I also collected the Hasbro ones, which were smaller and had little action features. Then I also collected the Jakks Pacific, which were 6-inch figures that had more.
I think that's the ones I had.
I had the bone crunching actions where they were kind of rubbery and you could like twist their elbows and they would go quack, quack, quack.
Yeah. I had the rubbery ones. I don't know which ones, but they were bigger. They were like, I don't know.
Yeah, and they were in poses, right? They didn't actually move. They were just like
they were just posed. Yeah.
LJN.
I sold them all at a fucking yard sale for 25 cents each. Big regret.
Those things are crazy though, man.
But when you're like 7, 25 cents seems like a lot of money. I don't know why, but
Yeah, it's great, man. Wrestling was so much. It's weird though because for me, I loved it from when I was a kid, and then I remember I never missed an episode of Raw. I probably went like 6 years where I never missed an episode of Raw, and always watched the pay-per-view within a week because I had a friend who always had it, so he would always invite us over, or if we couldn't go, he would bring me the tape because he would tape it and then pass it around.
Yeah, for all of grade 9, I sat in a business class with my friend Dan, and every Tuesday morning he would come in and go, "Did you watch Raw last night?" And I'd go, "Dan, I don't have cable." And he'd go, "Oh, you should have seen it," and tell me exactly what happened on Raw. He did this literally the entire year, every Tuesday. "Did you watch Raw last night?" "No, Dan, I still don't have cable. I'm a poor kid." Yeah, so I'll always remember that, but I always watch SmackDown. Like, SmackDown was my show I could get without cable, so.
Right.
Yeah. But
nice. That's funny.
I watched some of the pay-per-views. I didn't have them all.
I remember when it wasn't when SmackDown wasn't a thing. When it was
I remember when SmackDown started. Like I was in that era, but I used to watch some of the pay-per-views. I didn't get them all because my friend could get them on satellite sometimes. But my buddy just recently put up a few of the old ones up on a server for me to watch. So I watched WrestleMania 17 a couple nights ago.
Nice. I don't know what that.
I'm gonna watch like some of that old era, like Survivor Series and shit like that. Like I'm gonna like old 2000 era, 99 era, fucking.
Yeah, you should check out some stuff right before Attitude Era. Like the Hart Foundation stuff was really where it started to kind of get that little more of an edge because Bret Hart started being like this huge fucking prick and everyone hated him, and I was like, this is fucking awesome. I love him being this asshole.
Yeah, I think I was like
Hitman Hart was another one of my absolute favorites. I fucking love Bret Hart.
See, like I loved Chris Benoit, but you can't talk about Benoit anymore because he's fucking died and murdered his family. So
right,
but
I forgot about that. I remember he died, but I forgot that he killed his family. That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah,
I was never a big Chris Benoit fan, so fuck that guy.
Yeah, well, fuck that guy for sure. But I mean, when him and Jericho like teamed up and shit, I was like so like hyped because I was like, oh, this is such a sweet tag team or whatever. And then, like, and then he left, and then then he murdered his entire family. So fuck that guy.
It's not funny, but it's funny when you say it like that.
It's terrible, but it's so fucked up. But like, yeah,
fuck me.
Yeah,
that's good. All right, well,
anyway.
Wrestling, I love it. Man.
Wrestling.
I mean,
it's good times.
Watch it now. I don't think I could watch it now. Everything I see now, I'm just like, I don't know.
It like I said, it's not great. Like it's not like this is must watch television. Fuck Dan, you gotta check it out. But it's fun. It's nostalgic. I don't know. It's silly, and like if you go into it with the right attitude and the right mood, it's fun to watch. I'm not going to watch the next pay-per-view. I probably won't watch another wrestling match until Royal Rumble next year, maybe, or something. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's something to do. It was interesting. It was an interesting way to spend a weekend, and it was fun.
Are all pay-per-views now 2 nights, or is it just WrestleMania? Because it's
just WrestleMania. But if you get like it's not like when we were kids where fucking pay-per-view is like $70 or whatever. Like you can get the WWE Network now for like I think it's $10 a month or $15 a month, and you get the pay-per-views.
Oh, really?
So I watched WrestleMania for $15.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, like that's not me. There's no way on earth I was spending $70 on WrestleMania. Like $15.
I honestly didn't think that you were spending money on it. If I'm being honest. No, I mean, I didn't.
No, I subscribed to WWE Network for the month and got WrestleMania for $15, and I was like, yeah, that's worth it for me. That's fine.
Yeah, that's cool. That's sweet, man. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Is it still broadcast live? It is, right?
Yeah, WrestleMania is. You don't get like with the WWE Network, like at least in Canada, you don't get Raw or SmackDown or anything like that. So it's not like I was sitting there watching. No.
How does that make sense?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But you get like all like the documentaries and shit they've put out through like whatever. So like they have like snippets, like they have like,
right. But you don't get to actually watch the broadcast.
No, like they'll have like the Best of Raw documentary where they'll show like highlights from like the 90s era of Raw or something like that, right? Where they'll show like the best matches, or they'll show like the best of Edge, and they'll show like all the Edge matches that was like standout, or they'll do like a documentary with, they have like a podcast that Steve Austin interviews wrestlers about like the highlights of their careers and shit like that. Like they have like a bunch of like shit framed, like they have.
I know what you're talking about. They used to do that. They sold that extra content back in the day too, so I know that.
Right. Yeah. It's that kind of stuff where, but they don't have like, you can't watch Monday Night Raw on
That's
it. And
so
I'm just
weird
like, well,
to me.
that's ridiculous. Yeah.
You get WWE
because
Network,
they have
you
a
get the
deal with,
pay-per-views, but you don't get Raw and SmackDown.
I think it's because they have a deal with Fox for Raw, I think, and I assume that they want people to watch Fox and not, you know. So I don't know. That's my guess, but I don't know.
Weird. That's a weird choice, but I guess whatever.
Yeah.
Wrestling. Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know. Yeah, we could talk
fun
about
times.
that all night. Yeah. I got nothing.
I think that's it. We've gone 80 minutes, so
yeah, that's good. That's a good amount.
All right. So awkward change to obviously, like we said, no episode next week. We're gonna take a week off. The following week we'll do one live together. And then we're gonna have some hiatuses in June as well. It's just the way the schedule's gonna work out. I need a vacation. Matt's got work and shit going on, so we'll talk about that as it gets closer. But yeah, first week where I'm missing an episode in almost a year and 3-4 months. So
that's pretty good.
But, yeah.
No, man, that's pretty good. We did it good. I was saying on Whip Wednesday Live a couple of weeks ago that I'm like, oh my God, I've been doing this for 15 weeks. That's fucking nuts, or almost. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't missed a week in all of this year. And then I'm like, oh shit, now I have to miss 2 weeks. That fucking sucks. But
yeah, well, okay. That's what I mean. Like, this is 65 weeks in a row that we've not missed an episode.
That's crazy.
So, I always wanted to not miss a week, and I wanted to keep on it. But yeah, I need a break. I'm burnt out, and I'm not going to do an episode alone without Matt. It just seems pointless. So
yeah. We'll pick it up. I mean, the thing is, it's still relevant the week after because we'll just touch on both episodes. We'll
do both episodes in one big episode, and it'll be fun because we'll be together. So
it's true, and we'll be naked.
That's also true. So if you're not following Matt already, definitely go by his YouTube channel. So you can see all his lives and fucking content and stuff. That's
subscribe,
great.
Please. I'm trying to get that count up.
Definitely go subscribe. Follow him on Instagram at Customs by Matthew. You can follow me at Books Milk Media. I also have all these podcast episodes up on YouTube on my channel. You can get that in the description on my Instagram, and then you can get the episodes in audio form on podcast services of your choice. And our podcast episode art is done by Janie Milner, and that's it. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Fucking A, son.
All right, buddy.
Peace out.
Take care.